Bereshit, Genesis chapter 16, verse 1. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had not borne to him, and she had an Egyptian handmaid named Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, Behold now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing. Please come to my husband. Perhaps I will be built up from her. And Abram hearkened to Sarai's voice. So Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her handmaid, at the end of 10 years of Abram's dwelling in the land of Canaan, and she gave her to Abram, her husband, for a wife. And he came to Hagar, and she conceived, and she saw that she was pregnant, and her mistress became unimportant in her eyes. And Sarai said to Abram, May my injustice be upon you. I gave my handmaid into your bosom, and she saw that she had become pregnant, and I became unimportant in her eyes. May the Lord judge between me and you. And Abram said to Sarai, Here is your handmaid in your hand. Do to her that which is proper in your eyes. And Sarai afflicted her, and she fled from before her. And an angel of the Lord found her by a water fountain in the desert, by the fountain on the road to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's servant, where are you coming from, and where are you going to? And she said, From before Sarai, my mistress, I am fleeing. And the angel of the Lord said to her, Return to your mistress, and allow yourself to be afflicted under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said to her, I will greatly multiply your seed, and it will not be counted for abundance. And the angel of the Lord said to her, Behold, you will conceive and bear a son, and you shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your affliction. And he will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be upon all, and everyone's hand upon him, and before all his brothers he will dwell. And she called the name of the Lord, who had spoken to her, You are the God of seeing, because she said, Have I seen him here also after I have seen? Therefore the well was called Ber-lahai, or Lahai Roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and between Bered. And Hagar bore a son to Abram, and Abram named his son, whom Hagar had borne, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. So I want to point out a couple things here. First of all, I had mentioned in the group messenger about the difference in translation on chapter 16, verse 10 here. So it says, And the angel of the Lord said to her, I will greatly multiply your seed, and it will not be counted for abundance. So you can come over here if you want to, and you can actually see this word right here is, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, but it's a ve and then lo. So velo, the ve would be and lo is no. So if you guys want to even see it in Hebrew there, it will not be counted for, and it will not be counted for abundance. So I'll show you over here. This is my NIV translation, and this is Genesis 16, verse 10. The angel added, I will so increase your descendants that they will be too numerous to count. Again, and the angel of the Lord said to her, I will greatly multiply your seed, and it will not be counted for abundance. I just found that difference in translation interesting. And when I was meditating on this chapter, what really kept coming to me is the fact that in the next verse here, it says, And the angel of the Lord said to her, Behold, you will conceive and bear a son, and you shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your affliction. So there's a couple of different afflictions happening in this chapter. The very first affliction that's happening actually isn't towards Hagar, but it's being caused by Hagar. And it's towards her mistress or her master, Sarai. So whenever we read through this, I've always read through this like it was a blessing to her. Because whenever you read through like a translation like the NIV here, it sounds like a blessing. I will so increase your descendants that they will be too numerous to count. That's like just like the blessing that Abraham receives. But over here, that's not what the angel said. It says, and it will not be counted for abundance. And then if you continue on reading, let's hear about this blessing that we believe that she is receiving. What is this blessing? It says that you'll bear a son. He'll be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be upon all, and everyone's hand upon him. And before all his brothers he will dwell. Let's look at the NIV translation here in verse 12. He will be a wild donkey of a man, and his hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. And he will live in hostility toward all his brothers. I don't feel like that sounds like a blessing. I feel like that sounds like a curse. And if it's a curse, then that means that maybe whenever it says here, for the Lord has heard your affliction, maybe it's not talking about the affliction that was caused to her by her mistress Sarai before she fled, but maybe he's referring to the affliction that Hagar caused to Sarai whenever she began to become maybe kind of arrogant in her pregnancy, where she started to think little of her mistress, because I don't know, to me, this doesn't look like much of a blessing. It looks like more of a curse. But I would love to get you guys' opinion on this. Please share what you think. If you have a differing opinion on this, don't be afraid to share it. I am very open to hear it. I always find these things very interesting to kind of mull over. So, all right, moving on to chapter 17 next. See y'all there.